You have not truly celebrated a new year until you see the Mummers Parade, which takes place on New Year's Day, January 1st, every year in Philadelphia. It's a magically crazy event that takes over the streets of southern Philadelphia and celebrates the incredibly diverse and culturally rich history of the U.S. Thousands of people from the local communities take part and spend months leading up to the event training, learning choreography, and performances for the big day to showcase and represent their districts or clubs. It's a celebration of dance, music, and costumes, and serves as a fantastical start to the new year and what's to come.
I'm Palma Lucas. I'm a board of director here at the Golden Sunrise Fancy Club, Philadelphia Mummers. We've been around since the early colonial times, celebrating New Year's in our own special way. We're everyday working people. We make all our own costumes. We're not sponsored. Our traditions and our roots date all the way back to the early colonial days in the 1600s when the people from Sweden came here and they settled. They used to shoot off guns, bang pots, make loud noises to shoo away all the bad things in the old year and welcome in the good year. And then each group that came, followed by the English and William Penn, they brought the tradition of Christmas mumming from England, and that became part of it with the costumes and going house to house. And they just kept evolving. Every group that came brought something from their country to celebrate New Year.
If you live in the Philadelphia area or plan on spending your holiday there, the Mummers Parade is the place to be, so don't go too wild the night before. This 120-year-old parade is a staple of the Philadelphia cultural scene, with tens of thousands of people taking part, making it one of the most exciting events on the U.S. calendar. It all started in the mid-17th century when the first parade was created, infusing dance, music, and costume styles from Swedish, Irish, German, and African cultures and heritages to celebrate art and tradition. It was also loosely based on the British and Irish Mummers play, which were folk plays performed by troupes of amateur actors, almost like pantomimes, but with more of a mythical narrative.
I'll send thee to eternity!
No! Stand back, thou grim, forbidden dog! I'm gonna put many holes in you, and I'll let
the Mummers derive their name from the Mummers play performed in Philadelphia in the 18th century as part of a wide variety of working-class street celebrations around Christmas. By the early 19th century, these combined with earlier Swedish customs, including the Christmas neighbors' visits and possibly shooting firearms on New Year's Day, as well as the Pennsylvania German custom of Belchnickling, where adults in disguise question children about their behavior during the previous year. Could you imagine that now? U.S. President George Washington carried on the official custom of New Year's Day calls during the 7 years he occupied the president's house in Philadelphia. The Mummers continued their traditions of comic verse in exchange for cakes and ale. Small groups of up to 20 mummers, their faces blackened, went door to door, shooting and shouting and adapting the English mummers play by replacing the character of King George with that of General Washington. Through the 19th century, large groups of working-class young men, disguised often in blackface, roamed the streets of New Year's Day, organizing righteous processions, firing weapons into the air, demanding free drinks in taverns, and generally challenging middle and upper-class notions of order and decorum. We don't have to get into the civil rights movement or the fact that blackface is just not politically correct, but just wrong. This practice went the way of the dinosaur, you would think. In 2020, 2 mummers were banned from future parades after wearing blackface. Why they thought that was even a good idea, who the hell knows? In response, Mayor Kim Kenney said the city would end the parade if Mummers leadership does not make immediate changes to better control the parade. City Council member Cindy Bass introduced a bill that mummers who wore blackface risk a $70 fine and a 5-year banishment. You think we wouldn't need a law here? You think common sense would prevail? But let's not let a couple of boneheads define this great event. In 2016, a group presented a Mexican-themed skit with all of the performers wearing brownface. Parodies of Black Lives Matter continued. The same year, Finnegan New Year's Brigade presented a Caitlyn Jenner skit showing her pre-transition on the cover of a Wheaties box and after transitioning on the cover of a Fruit Loops box. A male mummer dressed as Jenner appeared mocking her Vanity Fair cover, announcing she was transgender. News reports showed a mummer with the Wheaties Fruit Loops sign screaming, "Fuck the gays." Social media posts led to the two of the mummers being fired from their day-to-day jobs and ousted from the club. Now keep in mind, these are actions of a select few and don't define this year's event. I bring these happenings to light because the people engaged in these actions clearly missed the point of the origins of the parade. The Mummers Parade is to celebrate diversity in cultures, not exploit them. It's amazing how a select few are still stuck in the 19th and 20th centuries, but don't let these select few ruin this celebration or put it in a bad light. Naturally, through the years, the Mummers Parade has grown and evolved into a massive celebration that today symbolizes the amalgamation and coming together of different cultures in America and pays homage to those rich backgrounds and heritage of people that chose to participate in the actual parade events. Today, local clubs who have started referring to themselves as New Year's Brigades collectively will compete in one of 5 categories, including comics, wench brigades, fancies, string bands, and fancy brigades. They spend months creating elaborate costumes, performance routines, and movable scenery. This is done in clubhouses, many of which are located on or near 2nd Street in the Penn Sport neighborhood of the city's South Philadelphia section, and serve as social gathering places for members. The first official parade was held on January 1st of 1901. The first string band, Shelby, was organized in 1898, first paraded in 1902, and last paraded in 2014. In the early years of the official parade, the makeshift costumes of most celebrants were gradually replaced by more elaborate outfits funded by associations' fundraising efforts. The parade has been broadcast since 1993 on WPHL-TV, which has also live-streamed the event on its website since 2011. After a national campaign to get the parade nationally televised, an edited 2-hour broadcast of the parade was picked up by WGN America and WGN-TV. The broadcast debuted on January 3rd of 2009. The official parade has been canceled only thrice during its history. One happened in 1919 as a result of the Spanish flu epidemic, when many public events were canceled. Another occurred in 1934 due to the effects of the Great Depression and a lack of prize money, and in 2021 on the grounds of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are the only city in the United States where all of these traditions blended together and formed the one-day celebration that we have here.
What is today? The Mummers Parade is held every New Year's Day, January 1st, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you're watching this video in 2023, make sure you tune in to WDPN-TV, that's MeTV2, to watch this year's parade, or check the Googles for airings. Happy New Year's, everyone. I hope it is a happy and safe one for you. Until next time.
After I say I'm sorry, what can I do to prove it to you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ever be mean to you. If I didn't care, I wouldn't be like I do. I was all wrong, but right or wrong, I don't blame you. Why should I take somebody like you and shame you? I made you cry, and I'm so sorry, dear. So what can I say, dear, after I